Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today on half a dozen fundamental mistakes that most entrepreneurs make and how to avoid them. So by the end of this, you're going to know exactly the biggest reasons that most people get loans and credit lines denied, and you're going to know exactly what to fix so you have the best chance of getting approved. For those that don't know me, my name is Ty Crandall. I'm actually the CEO at Credit Suite, and this is exactly what we do at Credit Suite, is help you improve fundability to get the most financing for your business while building your business credit and accessing all loans and credit lines in one place. So we can help you along the way. Feel free to visit us online at creditsuite.com/get funding to get approved. So let's talk a little bit about fundability. Fundability is your business's ability to get funding. And this is something I talk a lot about because I see so many people go out and want to get loans and want to get credit lines and business credit cards and get denied for really basic reasons. And they think it's because of their credit. They think it's because of their cash flow. They think it's revenue and these other things, when reality is most of the financing they're getting denied for is because they don't meet these standards. So with fundability, you can make it harder or easier for your business to get money. It really comes down to you. The power is in your hands. You can either set up your business where you're fundable and appealing to lenders and credit issuers, or otherwise you're not, and that makes it much harder to be able to get approved. So you make sure that you do this the right way, which gives you the chance of accessing the most capital at the absolute best terms. So when we talk about building for fundability, a business starts with absolutely no credit profile. Therefore, what's on your application becomes really important because they're not looking at your commercial credit reports. So with consumer credit, when you apply for a loan, when you apply for a credit card, what happens is they pull your consumer credit reports. It's probably established, so they make decisions based on the quality of that data or that data. The problem is that in the business world, you're typically getting started aren't going to have business credit reports established. So that means all of your credibility comes down to what's on your actual loan application or application for credit. So half of all companies fail in their first 5 years and 2/3 fail in the first 10 years. So as a result, newer businesses, meaning less than 5 years old, have to be really fundable in lenders' eyes. They're really going to scrutinize you and look at these basic fundability factors to determine if you should be approved even more than other things like credit and revenue. So you can have the best chance by avoiding these mistakes before they occur or fixing what's wrong now. It's never too late to have yourself the best chance of getting approved. So one of the first mistakes that we see make really comes down to your business names. Okay, it's one of the most common mistakes. So one of the most common reasons that loan and credit applications denied is because the lender can't easily locate your business online. And believe it or not, this right here is the number one reason that we see lenders deny applications for credit financing. It's the number one thing that we fix for clients, and they're able to turn around and be able to get approved. So the business name on your application should be the exact same as what's listed online with your Secretary of State, and that includes any DBAs that you have. So I just had this question proposed to us yesterday in our Facebook group, and they said, hey, look, what do I do because they're not recognizing my business and I have a DBA? The answer is that you've got to put your business name and any DBAs that you use. Now, first of all, DBAs are really problematic, and if you're not familiar with what a DBA is, it's doing business as. So some people, I'll give you an example. We have a product called the Business Finance Suite. That's our product that helps customers improve fundability, build business credit, and get financing. So we have Credit Suite, but we also have a DBA Business Finance Suite. So if we ever want to use that name, then we can actually use Credit Suite DBA Business Finance Suite, although we don't. So this is an example of why some people get DBAs. The problem is the minute you assign a DBA, if you're going to use that name, like in our example, Business Finance Suite, every time we apply for credit and financing, we'd have to use Credit Suite DBA Business Finance Suite. So DBAs are really problematic to begin with because by having them, you have to put the name of your company and the DBA wherever it is that you're applying for credit and financing, and you should put that online as well. So try to avoid DBAs if you can, but if you can't, then make sure you include your full business name, including the DBA, on any application for credit and financing, exactly as it is with the Secretary of State. You need to make sure it's exactly the same everywhere on all the papers you have, the licenses, the utility statements, the bank statements. So let me give you a typical example of what happens. You apply for a bank loan, you apply for a credit card. The very first search their computers do is go to the Secretary of State to verify that you even have a real business. As you might be imagine, the amount of fraud that happens in the banking world is astronomical, right? You and I have both been exposed to fraud in some which way or form in the number of years. We've seen it increase. Imagine being a bank. Imagine being a credit card company. They are plagued by fraud. It happens all the time. So when you apply for credit or financing, their computers automatically by default are anticipating that application can be fraud. So the very first thing they do is they go to the Secretary of State to verify that the business name you're applying under is even really legitimate, that it even really exists. And if the name you put on the application for credit financing doesn't match exactly what is in the Secretary of State records, then they consider that a mismatch and they automatically deny the application because of fraud. They think that it's not even a legitimate company that's applying because the information you're providing doesn't verify with what's with Secretary of State. Okay, and this is why the bank statements you have, the utility statements you have, your licenses, all of the stuff needs to have that exact same name. It needs to be the same on your website. It needs to be the same on Google and Bing and Yahoo, or it will oftentimes get you denied. Okay, so it's a really big deal. You got to check with the Secretary of State first to even make sure that your business name is set up right, that your company is active, and that your name is matching everywhere that you have it listed online. Now, I know, listen, I can't tell you how many people just say, yeah, I got that, no big deal. And they don't do this check, and then they get denied and realize that this is the reason why. So make sure you do this simple check, Secretary of State check, that will then verify the name you're using everywhere is the actual same name and spelling that you have with Secretary of State. Now, while checking your name, again, also make sure that all the information with your company is accurate. The address, the phone number, the principal owner, and make sure that your company is active. Remember, in most states, I think all states, you have to file annual reports and pay a fee to keep that company in good standing. You need to make sure that this is the case. Otherwise, you're going to get denied for credit and financing when you go to apply. Okay, so many lenders automatically deny you also if your name indicates you're in a high-risk industry. Now, some restricted industries include ammunition, weapons manufacturing, bail bonds, check cashing, energy and oil trading, finance, pawn shops, political campaigns, X-rated products, and more. And if your business name reflects that you're in one of these industries, you may be declined. Now, you want more information on this? Go to our Facebook page. If you go to creditsuite.com and look at the top right of our page of our social media links and click on Facebook, we just did, I think last week, we just dove in to talk about NAICS codes, SIC codes, how to select the right industry to avoid being in high-risk industries where it's tougher to get the money that you want. So we just dove into this whole topic for like an hour or like 30 minutes to an hour last week that'll give you more information. But the bottom line is, if your name reflects that you're in a high-risk industry, one of two things happen. Either an automatic denial or you're going to face more stringent underwriting guidelines. Here's what I mean by facing more stringent underwriting guidelines. My goal for you is to submit applications and get automated approvals. You have like a checklist of everything the lender and credit issuer is looking for, and they approve you automatically. They're computers. The minute you have red flags caused by what I'm going over here, then what happens is your application gets pushed for what's called a manual review. It gets pushed to a human to review that. Now, that human is getting an application that already has red flags. So understand, from their perspective, it's a really high risk moving forward for them to approve that application because they're already looking at an application that their computers have already scrutinized. So in more cases than not, those are going to end up as declines. They're going to end up as denials. So the goal here is automated approvals. Automated approvals are tougher to come by when your name indicates that you're in a high-risk industry. Mistake number 2, EIN, corporate entities and licenses. So to get financing or credit for your business, you've got to have a business entity set up. And you really need to consider a corporation or an LLC because those give you more credibility. They reduce your liability, they separate you from the business, and it makes your business a separate legal entity. So you need to make sure that your entity is set up in the same state as your business address, and you really need to make sure that you consider LLCs or corporations because things like sole proprietors are not as credible to lenders or credit issuers and throw up red flags. And there's other reasons you want to consider things like sole proprietors as well. For example, the IRS audits sole proprietors. Check this out, this is crazy. 1 in 7 times an sole proprietor gets audited. 1 in 7 times. For a corporation, it's 1 in 50. So your chances radically decrease of an IRS audit if you're doing something like an LLC or a corporation instead of doing a sole proprietor to begin with. Now, your corporation needs to have a tax ID number, or your company needs a tax ID number. Just like you have a social, this is how the IRS recognizes your business as a legitimate business. You're also going to need that for things like your business bank account, and it's necessary for you to build business credit. You cannot build credit for your business that's not linked to you personally unless you have this EIN credit created. And also make sure that every bear has the right EIN number. Okay, I did this. I am an absolute culprit of this, which is why I'm teaching you not to do it. I have multiple companies that I own, and in one case I wrote the EIN number down from one company in the place for another on an application. Then I threw that application in a drawer and kept using that application as reference for my EIN number. So the problem is that I continue to use the wrong EIN number in all different places. You need to make sure you don't make that kind of mistake. Even me that spent my life in financial services has made this kind of mistake. Okay, now Sharon Noslin, I hope I pronounced your name right, says, what will happen if I choose home based on application for DUNS number? If you're getting a DUNS number and you choose that you're a home based location, that's okay. Just keep in mind that Dun & Bradstreet is now even including Google Street Views of your business address on your business report. So if you don't want a picture of your house to end up in your business credit report, you might want to consider another type of address, which we'll be diving into here in a few minutes. So make sure you have the proper licensing for your company as well. Make sure the address on your licenses is the same as all other documents. Contact your state, your county, your city government to see if any licenses are needed there as well. And again, sometimes you need your license just for your actual industry. And some sources, I think Granger is one of those vendors that helps you build business credit, where if you have a license, you're automatically approved for them with a $2,500 credit limit. Like, just the fact that you have a license automatically approves you for $2,500 worth of credit with Granger. So that's the kind of things that happen if you get a license. Some sources look at this so favorable that they'll automatically approve you for credit just because you have a license. It gives your company that much credibility. So let's talk a little bit more about business addresses. Your business address has to be a real brick and mortar building. It must be a deliverable physical address. It cannot be a PO box. It cannot be a UPS address. Home addresses are okay. They're like your worst case scenario. Okay, so home address you can use, but some sources just won't approve you. So with a home address, you can get a Staples card, but you won't get a Walmart card, is a perfect example. So some credit issuers and some lenders just will not approve you with home addresses. And yes, they do know this. Okay, when you type in an address, the computers of lenders and credit issuers will tell them whether it's a home address, a PO box, a UPS address, or a real physical address. So if you use a home address, they know this, and that in a lot of cases, some sources will approve you, some won't. PO boxes and UPS addresses will almost always automatically get you denied, so you want to avoid those altogether. Okay, now lenders check with the UPS, and they check places like Google Maps, so they know you're using USPS addresses if that is what you're using. So again, you want to make sure that you avoid those. So what's the alternative? A virtual address. A virtual address from Regis, DaVinci, Alliance. These places have addresses where you can rent a mailbox, but when they check the address, they see a real physical location like a high-rise building in Tampa, Florida, which gives you instant credibility because they're looking at the actual commercial address itself to determine that you are credible. So much better than a UPS or PO box instead of an actual physical address. Nomari says, I have 10 trade lines and was approved for $10,000 with Wawa. Congrats, that's awesome. But approval only if I provide a PG with Dell. Crazy. It's not as crazy as you think. So Amari, when you're building business credit, the number of trade lines you have will determine where you get approved with a PG or with not. So in this case, if Wawa will give you the credit with a PG or without a PG, and you won't get the PG with Dell, that means you don't have enough credit on your report, enough trade lines, or a high enough limit yet to be able to get the no PG with Dell. So just keep building more accounts and go back to Dell, and you should have better success. Dustin says, should my business name be letter by letter the same as my website? It doesn't have to be, but it should, yes. Our company name is Credit Suite. Our website is creditsuite.com, and you will learn, and we will talk about this mistake a little bit later, having a website domain that is exactly the same as your business name gives you instant credibility. When you're choosing business name that you don't even own the domain for, it doesn't make you look as credible. So that is something we'll talk about a little bit later. And Maxim says, how about the unincorporated businesses trust and the IRS form 1041 that filed with the county clerk but not registered with the Secretary of State? Let me see that again. How about the unincorporated business trust and the IRS form 1041 that filed with the county clerk but not registered with the Secretary of State? Let me know more of your question so I can get a better understanding of Maxim. I'm not sure I understand exactly what you're asking here. So mistake number 4, not paying attention to business phone, fax, and 411. Lenders see an 800 number, a toll-free number, as a sign of credibility. So even if you are a single business owner working from home, get a toll-free number from places like Ring Central. Okay, there's all kinds of places out there that offer them. It's incredibly easy, it's super inexpensive to do this, and you can get an e-fax included. Look, fax numbers are not going to get you denied for credit financing, but if you have an application that asks for a fax number and you leave it blank, it doesn't make you look as credible as if you did have a fax number. Now, a cell phone or a home phone number is automatically going to get you denied in many cases. So never use a cell phone, never use a residential phone as your business phone number on any application for credit or financing. You also need to make sure that your phone number is listed with 411, and you also want to make sure that you check to see if your number is listed. So you could do a 411 check to see if your phone number is listed, but 411.com is not 411. Okay, this is the reason lenders and credit issuers use 411. You can't fake 411. That's why they use it. Meaning the way the 411 works is they organically pick up your business. They check places like Yelp. They check places like the Yellow Pages. And eventually when your phone number is listed in those places, 411 will organically or naturally pick it up. So if you don't want to go to a place like List Yourself and actually pay to do this, then what you want to do is you want to actually make sure that you get your phone number listed every Yellow Pages, Yelp, Bing, Google, everywhere you can to get 411 the best chance of picking you up. Now, we're all about building business credit really, really, really fast. And so one of the ways we shortcut the process for our customers is using listyourself.net. Okay, listyourself.net is very, very, very important because they can list you with 411 in less than a month versus other sources where you're actually going to be here and have to wait for them organically to pick you up, which would take many months for that to actually happen. Mistake number 5, non-professional website email. This was just asked a few minutes ago by Dustin. So credit providers will research your corporation or company on the internet. It's best they learn everything there is to learn from you. Not having a company website severely hurts any chances of getting corporate credit. So use places like Template Monster and Upwork to actually get a website set up, to set up a professional website. Places like GoDaddy to get that website hosted. Okay, you need an email address that's the same as your domain. So info@creditsuite.com is my email and creditsuite.com is our domain. Okay, it's very easy to set up and it just makes you look professional. Stay away from Yahoo, stay away from AOL, stay away from Gmail. And the question just came up by Dustin, should it be exactly the same as my company name? Preferably yes. Okay, you want your company name to be exactly the same as your email, exactly the same as your website. Our company is Credit Suite. Our website is creditsuite.com. Our email is info@creditsuite.com. It all should be the same. Now you could say, well, it could be similar, but it just doesn't make you look credible. Guys, think about it like this. So much of this really, if you really think about it, makes perfect sense. When you fill it out, when you fill out an application, is what you're putting on that application really make you look more credible or not? Okay, that's what you really have to ask yourself. Because if you come in and you own a company and you don't even own your own domain for your company, doesn't that make you look bad? It doesn't make you look as legitimate as if you actually own your domain. There are no large publicly owned or privately owned companies out there that don't own their own domains, okay? I mean, think about it. I don't even know how much money Google paid for Alphabet when they became Alphabet, right? But you know that I would imagine they probably own alphabet.com right now. They've got enough money to be willing to do it. So you've got to own that domain that's synonymous with your actual company. Mistake number 6, okay, your business bank account carelessness. So let me see if there's another question. And Maxim's asked again, unincorporated businesses trust is doing business in the county where the business is located, but incorporated business is registered with the Secretary of State. So I still don't understand. You're explaining what it is, but you're not telling me precisely what your question is. So Maxim, I'm still asking the same thing. Exactly what is your question? I know you're talking about unincorporated businesses trust, but you're not explaining what your question is. So my apology if I'm not understanding, Max. that, you can also email that to info@creditsuite.com if it's a little bit easier. Mistake number 6, business bank account carelessness. When building corporate, and excuse my barking, I have a 9-pound Pomsky behind me and a 135-pound Great Dane that are wrestling with each other. So I apologize in advance if you hear grumbling between these two that are having an absolute crazy fun dogfight behind me. So mistake number 6, back to that. When building corporate credit, you always need to be looking to the future. The future is bank and other loans. So set your business up for bank loan approval success. Being careful with your business bank account is the absolute key. Your business banking history is vital to getting all kinds of financing. The date you open your business bank account is very important for multiple reasons. You have a credit score with check systems. You have a bank rating that actually assesses your ability to get money from the banking system. All those things take into account your start date for the business, how long your business has been open, to how low of a risk you may be. If you ever change ownership in your business, the same thing comes in, aka where it actually happens, where you've got to make sure that you then look at your bank account, or they then look at your bank account start date to determine your credibility. So again, this just becomes so important that you get that bank account set up early into the creation of your business. So again, if you incorporated your business 10 years ago and you just opened your bank account yesterday, then it's yesterday. A lot of cases, they're going to look at the start date of your business. So again, if there's any question of you actually creating the business when you did, they will revert to bank account start date instead. So for example, this is to prevent shelf corporations. Some people try to go in and purchase a shelf corporation so it makes them look like they owned the business longer than they did. Well, then what happens is the minute there's an ownership change on that business, which by the way throws up red flags on your business credit report, the next thing they do is look at your bank account start date as the start date of the business. So there's so many reasons that it makes sense to open this account early. Okay, you've got to have a business bank account. You've got to do that to separate personal and business expenses. It's not commingling funds. Okay, so that becomes very important as well. And you've also, if you're going to get a bank loan for an SBA loan from a big bank, you need to keep a $10,000 balance in that account up to 90 days before you go to get that business bank loan. Let me clarify. This doesn't matter with any other kind of financing other than SBA loans. There's a bank rating that's only used by big banks, and you can't get an SBA loan from big banks like Bank of America or Chase unless you have a high enough bank rating. In order to have a high enough bank rating, you need to keep an average balance of $10,000 or higher over a 90-day period before you apply. If you're going to get an alternative loan online, if you're trying to build business credit, if you're trying to get any other kind of financing, it doesn't matter, but it does matter when it comes to this. Now, on top of number 6, let me just say again that what matters here is that you've got to make sure that you manage the bank account wisely. Guys, there's all kinds of financing that's available just based on how you manage your bank account. And now with artificial intelligence, with AI, they're now going in and they're looking at your bank account history without even your statements. Okay, what they're doing is they're just coming in and they're actually electronically looking at how you manage your bank account without even needing your bank statements to do it, making it easier and faster to get the money you need. In these cases, they're looking at these type of things. How much is your bank account ending balance at the end of each statement period? It shouldn't be negative. It shouldn't be a low balance. How much is your average daily balance in your bank account? How many non-sufficient funds do you have? How many deposits do you have? These are the kind of things. They want to see responsible bank account management, which means they want to see that you have more money coming into bank account than going out. They want to see you have a positive ending bank balance at the end of every month. They want to see that you have a lot of deposits instead of just a few little deposits. Okay, they want to see consistency in that bank account. And by having that consistency in the bank account, it makes a really, really, really big difference, okay, that you can actually come in and be able to make sure that you have it set up the right way to be able to get the most amount of money. So again, a lot of places are looking at your bank account history. This becomes more and more important to getting financing for your business. Okay, and Amari says, I heard now you can buy shelf corporations with bank accounts and business credit attached. I don't know. You can check into it. But again, the question is why would you? When you buy a shelf corporation, you are trying to con a lender, con a credit issuer that you've had a business longer than you've had, and all all these other things that are not true. Here's the problem. Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, they're wise to this. So the minute an ownership changes, so if you buy a shelf corporation, the ownership has to change from the current owner to you. The minute that happens, the minute it happens, what goes on is your credit files are flagged with Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. There's an absolute alert that happens, and I've even had a webinar where I showed the actual alert. The alert will then trigger all kinds of problems. I had somebody, Christine, on my webinar that built her business credit and had over $1 million now of business credit built. And in the early stages, she got flagged because the company that sold Shelf Corporation solicited her and did an inquiry on her credit report. Listen, very important. She didn't buy anything from them. It did an inquiry on her business credit report because they tried to solicit her to buy something. The inquiry by itself threw up a red flag that alerted her and many other people that there was an issue, and she had to go through an entire process with the reporting agencies to get that removed. We've had other clients where that red flag got them denied for credit. We have had other clients where the credit was canceled because the red flag was actually came up because shelf corporations are looking at their actual credit reports. So when D&B, Equifax, and Experian see that companies that sell shelf corporations are then moving the company to you, they automatically make the link that you are buying a shelf corporation. And what happens at that point is that will oftentimes result in an automatic decline. Okay, so I cannot tell you enough that shelf corporations are very bad. Okay, because once you get a credit profile shut down, then your ability to use it again is ruined. It's over. So I see all kinds of people spend $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 for shelf corporations. Red flags are thrown up on their business credit reports. D&B, Equifax, or Experian shuts them down where they can't even use their business credit report. Then they come to us and say, how do I fix it? You can't fix it. They're out the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000, and they have to start building business credit the right way anyways. Just some things to keep in mind. Mike says, can I use my business tax refund to buy a car if I make a lot? Well, I don't. You can use your business tax refund for anything that you want to do. But I think Mike says, can I use my business tax return to buy a car? A loan for my business. I'm not exactly sure your question, but of course you can use your tax refund for anything you want to use your tax refund for. So mistake number 7, not getting your personal financial house in order. So personal credit quality is often helpful for getting business funding. So if personal credit's not in order, then it's going to create issues, so you probably want to get it straightened out. Now for a business loan at a conventional bank, you've got to have good credit. Bank of America, Chase, you can't even apply for those unless you have good personal credit. But even other sources like revenue lending where you can get approved without having good credit, the problem with that is you're still going to pay much higher rates than you should. Look, I am a business credit, I don't want to say guru, but I know a lot about business credit, right? Probably more than most people you'll speak to. And I will be the first one that tells you personal credit is really important. Yes, you can get all kinds of credit for your business without a personal guarantee and credit check. I specialize in teaching people how to do that. But personal credit becomes very important if you want the best credit lines, the best financing. It's out there at the lowest rates. Personal credit really is important. So if you haven't addressed this, get it fixed. I don't deal with personal credit. I don't fix it. I don't have anything to do with that. But I'll tell you, there are plenty of experts out there that are very good and credible at helping you fix personal credit. And the way they do it is that the law requires everything on your credit report must be 100% accurate, verifiable, and timely. And when the stuff is disputed, 80 to 90% of the time, it doesn't meet that criteria, and the Fair Credit Reporting Act says it must be deleted from the credit report or fixed so it is accurate. And in almost all cases, those accounts get deleted, meaning you have negative accounts, they're being misreported one which way or the other, they're disputed, and they get removed because they're not being reported 100% accurate. So get your personal credit in order. It goes a long way to help you get credit and financing. Okay, so some of those things to actually keep in mind. Now, your business fundability and congruency. Keep all of your records consistent. Credit reporting agencies and creditors look at everything, so it needs to match or it's going to get you denied for fraud. I cannot tell you this enough. Over 50% of all loan applications are denied because they think it's fraud. That's why the very first tip I gave you today was to make sure your name is in order, because anything they see that's incongruent, they pull your website, the phone number there is different than the Secretary of State. They pull your listing online with Yelp and your address is different than what they find with Bing. any of these incongruencies, they're automatically defaulting and thinking it's fraud. It's one of the biggest reasons that anybody's application for credit or financing gets denied. Your business name, your address, your phone number, your fax number, all that needs to be the same on IRS records, Secretary of State records, reporting agencies, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, and corporation documents. It needs to be exactly the same. So make sure that you get that addressed. So to recap, enhance your business's fundability by keeping the name of your business away from high-risk industries. Get an EIN. Okay, get it set up. Get any business licenses that you need. Have a real physical business address or use a virtual address. Get a phone number. Make sure it's a toll-free number. Get a fax number and make sure your phone number for your business is listed with 411. Get a professional website. Get an email address that's the same as your domain. Make sure your company name is the same as your domain and your email address. Okay, open a separate business bank account for your business. And if you're going to apply for a bank loan, consider having 10 grand in that account or you're not going to get a bank loan. Don't get me wrong. You can get business credit. You can get alternative loans, but you're not going to go into Chase and get a bank loan with SBA unless you have that. And make sure that you have your financial personal house in order, including your personal credit as well. And of course, make sure that you have congruency with all of that. Now look, if you're looking to get money for your business, we work with every legitimate funding source, and it's in one place. Not every funding source. We work with every legitimate funding program and we house them in one place. And since we do so much volume in financing, then we then get better terms with these finance sources and we pass those on to you. And we work with you to get the money you can get now while developing a finance blueprint to help you get money in the future so you just don't need to look for money again. So if we can help you at all with getting money for your business, building business credit, improving your fundability, give us a ring, 877-600-2487. We even do a free fundability consultation with you. And during this consultation, we basically do three things. We do a fundability search for you to see how fundable your business is. Do you meet some of these criteria? We talk to you about the steps to build business credit. We even do a free search with you with Experian, Dun & Bradstreet, and or Equifax to see if you have credit profiles with them now and what's being reported. We give you an idea of all of that. And we tell you roughly all the financing you can get now on that same consultation call. So if you want to know what kind of financing you qualify for, how fundable your business is set up, and where you stand now with the business credit reporting agencies, that's what we do on our actual fundability assessment, and it's completely free for you to get. All you have to do is just give us a ring at 877-600-2487. Did you get value here? If you got value, do me a favor. Throw a like out there, like the video, subscribe to our channel. I can actually see likes in real time, and I appreciate all of you that's already given us a like. Okay, this helps YouTube recognize that this content is valuable to other entrepreneurs and show it to them. If there's not engagement with the video, they don't do that. So if you want to help your peers, then go ahead, throw a like and subscribe. We go live on YouTube every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern, almost every Tuesday. Sometimes I am tied up out of town at a conference, but if that's not, I am here teaching you live on YouTube at 1 o'clock Eastern. So if you subscribe, we'll alert you to our special events and other types of presentations that we do as well. And if you want more training, we go live on Facebook every week. We have daily tips on Instagram, Twitter, etc. You can access all of our social media links at creditsuite.com at the top right of our page. Some other questions have come in, so let me go ahead and make sure that I get those answered. Okay, Mike says Eric Counts is awesome for personal credit repair. He is, Mike. I know Eric Counts very well, and Eric is a really good guy and does a very good job of fixing personal credit without a doubt. And I think you asked Mike, can I use my business tax refund to buy a car, or how? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think I answered that question. Amari said, how can they be blocked? And you mean with the business credit reporting agencies? It's very simple. Business credit is not like consumer credit. If Dun & Bradstreet wants to shut down and completely remove your business credit profile, they 100% can. And here's how. Because consumer credit is regulated by a law called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. There is no Fair Credit Reporting Act in the business world. Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian can do anything they want with your information. They can give it out to anybody they want to without your permission. Okay, they can terminate your business credit profiles. They are not regulated. So this is one of the biggest problems that people come to us to fix. Their business credit profile was shut down, and it's always because of one of two reasons. They bought bogus trade lines, or they got a bogus shelf corporation. And the shelf corporation or the trade lines flagged their credit profile, got their credit profile shut down and removed so they can't even be accessed again. So those are common problems we've seen in only 2 instances. You bought trade lines, you bought a bogus shelf corporation, so it definitely works to stay away from those. And Amari says, is it okay to abbreviate the domain name if you have a long business name? Well, again, the most credible business has their domain, email, and business name all being the same. So if you have anything other than that, meaning your domain name is an abbreviation of your main name or any other reflection that's other than your business name, it's not that you're going to get denied at all sources. It's just that it throws up a red flag and makes it tougher to get approved. So can you do it? You absolutely can. But if you want to have the most fundable business, then you want your domain, your email, and your actual company name to be exactly the same. So hopefully this helps you. But if you have other questions, then grab a consultation with us. Just go to 877-600-2487 or email us info@creditsuite.com. We'll spend time with you to do that free fundability consultation, and we'll give you some advice and tips on how you can make your business more fundable. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to get money for your business. Visit us at creditsuite.com/get funding. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.